I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. With back to school just around the corner, I thought I'd do a blog here on taking my viewers back to real estate school. And especially the people that don't own Vancouver real estate here, but want to get into the market, which the vast majority I find that are currently renting or living at home definitely see the advantages to being a long-term owner as opposed to a long-term renter and want to get in the market. But of course, there's several roadblocks, one being saving the down payment, getting pre-approved for a mortgage, and of course, earning enough money to be able to afford a property. So we're going to go to real estate school here, and let's start with a hypothetical situation. We're going to start with 100 students, and I'm going to walk you through the process of buying real estate in Vancouver. And unfortunately, you're going to see we're going to get a lot of dropouts along the way because there's a number of classes you need to take and graduate from before you're able to give me a call, meet at my office, and start the search for a home. So let's start hypothetically with 100 students. We're all sitting in a room. I'm at the front of the room in front of the chalkboard. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the 100 students, and again, all of you are currently either renting, living at home, living in your car, urban campers, living in a tent, whatever. But you all see the need or the importance of buying a home and how that really sets you up for financial security down the road, and how being a long-term renter, as I've said before, is really a bit of a fool's game, especially in a city like Vancouver. So the first class I'm going to teach you, I'm going to address the class and I'm going to say, I need everyone who has their down payment funds in place to raise their hands. And by down payment funds, it's going to depend on where you want to buy, whether that's New Westminster or downtown Vancouver, and the size of the property you're looking for. But let's just keep it simple. You're looking for a downtown Vancouver condo. Well, if you're looking for a downtown Vancouver condo, a one-bedroom, right now we're probably talking between $650,000 and $750,000. There are units less than that. I'm selling studios and junior one-bedrooms for around $5,000 or $550,000. But to keep it simple, you're going to need about $100,000 down. You're going to need at least 10 or 15%, maybe 20% conventional mortgage. So the first question I'm going to ask everyone that wants to buy a one-bedroom condo, hands up, everyone that has their $100,000 in place right now. And I'm going to get some funny stares, some jaws are going to drop, some eyes are going to glaze over. I'm going to say out of the 100 students, only about 20 are going to put up their hands that have their $100,000 or $125,000 or $150,000 sitting in a bank account ready to go as the down payment. So unfortunately, I'm going to lose about 80% of the class here, but that's okay. 80 are going to have to stand up, and I'm going to walk you down the hall to another class, and it's called Saving for the Down Payment and Financial Success 101. And that's going to be a semester of how to save your money, how to pay yourself first, how to cut drastically back on your expenses. No more Canucks games, no more Lions games. You're going to have to sacrifice some things to boost your savings rate. How to start working a side hustle, get a couple of jobs. It's not going to be easy, but it's the sacrifices you have to make if you want to live in a city like Vancouver. If you don't want to give those things up, then we're going to have to transfer you to Winnipeg or Edmonton. But for Vancouver, this is what's going to need to be done to save that $100,000. So I'm going to have to walk 80 of you down the hall to another class for a semester. Once you graduate from that, you can come back to my class. I'm left with 20 students now. Of those 20 students, the next thing I'm going to ask them is how many of you are now pre-approved for your mortgage? So you've sat down with TD Bank, with Royal Bank, with a mortgage broker. You've brought in your T4 slips, your tax returns. They've verified your deposit funds. You've gone through what your expenses are, your car loans, student loans, whatever, what you're currently paying for rent, and they have given you a pre-approval letter. This is everything. I won't work with people until they have this pre-approval letter. So of those 20 students I've got left, I'm going to say at least half or maybe 15 are going to put up their hand saying, I don't have the pre-approval letter. And if that's the case, then unfortunately I'm going to have to take those 10 or 15, walk you down the hall to another class that's called Mortgage Pre-Approval and the Magic of Leverage. And it's another semester, 3-month class that's going to teach you how to get qualified for a mortgage, how to pay off all your debt so that it's clean, how to make sure you've got a working income, etc., etc. And what leverage can do for you by being able to put 10 or 15% down on a property, borrow the other 75 or 80%, and what leverage can do over the long term. I've done lots of blogs on it. So unfortunately, I'm probably going to lose another 15 students. So that's going to leave me with 5 left from the original 100. Of those 5, I can now start to work with you, myself and my team. We can start getting more details on what you're looking for, price range, neighborhood, location, amenities, parking, no parking, etc. But this is how real estate works. This is Real Estate 101. You have to graduate those first 2 classes if you want to be able to buy a property. And so many people, every month I'll get people, and they mean well, but they'll say, oh, I want you to help me find a condo. You know, the first questions I have to ask, do you have your deposit funds? Some cases, yes, they do, but a lot of them don't have that second step. And they'll say, well, no problem. I mean, I've got the 5% or 10% down, shouldn't be a problem. It is a problem, especially today. With the mortgage tightenings we've got, the qualifying and how difficult it is to get a mortgage. I mean, I would say that these days, getting the $100,000 down payment together, or $70,000 or $150,000, whatever you're going to need depending on where you want to buy, that's actually the easier part now. The tough part now is to get qualified for the mortgage. It's crazy. It's always been extremely difficult, always, to get a mortgage in Canada. It's never been easy, unlike the US, where if you had a pulse, not only would they lend you the money for a house, but we'll give you another $50,000 to buy an SUV. If you had a pulse, you could get a mortgage. That's never the way it's been in Canada. Our Canadian banking system here is ultra conservative, and it's gotten more and more and more conservative as the prices have gone up, and they've kept mandating these new mortgage rules. And just on a side note, you know, the mortgage tightening and the interest rate hikes are definitely what's going to put a damper on this condo market finally. But of course, you know, I talk to my investor clients, and many of them are just licking their chops because it's actually making it much more difficult, of course, to get a condo, a first-time buyer to get in the market. So they're relegated to renting. And you know what the rental market is like in Vancouver. It's a beast. It's crazy. Vacancy is next to zero. Rents have been going up year over year for the last decade. It's not cheap. $2,200, $2,300 for a decent 1-bedroom now per month. So of course it's squeezing more people into the rental market, which of course the established investors are cashing in on. So it's funny how, sure, it might do a little bit of damage to the prices down the road, but it's pushing a lot more people into becoming long-term renters. But that's Real Estate 101. School is in session. You need to pass those first 2 classes before you can begin to look for a condo. So get those 2 things, graduate from those 2 classes, and then you can move forward. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.